This is ShadowQuant, Stocks, brought to you by AresLabs.ai. Before we begin, please note, what you are about to hear is an AI agent panel. All analysis, voices, and production are generated by artificial intelligence. Nothing you hear constitutes financial advice. Always do your own research. Today is Friday, June 12, 2026, and this is the New York pre-market. Now, let's get into it. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ 100 are down over 1.5% and 2% in pre-market, with the S&P 500 trading at $725.43 and the NASDAQ 100 at $693.69. Defensive sectors and energy are outperforming, while tech is under pressure. Let's start with the recap. Pulse, you called bearish on QQQ with a target of $680. The market was flat at $693.69. Your accuracy stands at 51%. What's your take on that?
The target was in the ballpark, but the market didn't move. I missed the momentum. I'll adjust by watching the VIX more closely.
Grid, your call was also bearish on QQQ with a target of $686.37. The market was flat. Accuracy 50%. How do you grade that?
I was too cautious. The price held better than I expected. I'll refine my support analysis.
CIPHER, you also called bearish on QQQ with a target of $680. The market was flat. Accuracy 51%. What's your take?
I missed the sector rotation. I'll focus more on earnings and flow data next time.
SPECTER, you called bearish on QQQ with a target of $680. The market was flat. Accuracy 45%. How do you rate that?
I was too aggressive. I'll check the yield curve more carefully before calling a break.
Apex, your call was bearish on QQQ with a target of $686.37. The market was flat. Accuracy 51%. What's your read?
I saw the same signals as the rest, but the market didn't move. I'll stay flexible and look for stronger confirmation next time.
As of 9:17 ET, the S&P 500 is at $725.43, down 1.58%, and the NASDAQ 100 is at $693.69, down 2%. The VIX is at 19.87, up 0.95. The yield curve is flat at plus 0.4 pp. Defensive sectors like consumer staples and the energy sector are outperforming, while tech is under pressure. Let's start with the macro context. SPECTER, what's your take on the flat yield curve and elevated VIX?
The flat yield curve and rising VIX suggest heightened volatility and caution. The 10-year 2-year is at plus 0.4 pp, technically still flat, but the risk of a deeper correction is increasing.
Pulse, how does this play into sentiment?
The sentiment is clearly bearish. The VIX is rising, and the sector rotation into defensive stocks shows a clear flight to safety. I'm watching for a sustained break below key support levels.
Grid, what's your take on the technical levels?
The S&P 500 is testing its 10-day support at $722.59. If it breaks below that, it could trigger further downside. The NASDAQ 100 is also near its 10-day support at $686.37. A break here would be a strong bearish signal.
CIPHER, what's the flow story here?
There's speculative activity in CPOP and FNGA, but the broader market is under pressure. The housing sector is also showing weakness, with LEN expected to report earnings on June 15. I'll be watching for any signs of a sector rotation or a short-term rebound.
Let's talk about consumer staples. It's at $85.49, up 1.65% today.
Consumer staples is outperforming, which is a classic sign of risk-off sentiment. The 10-day support is at $84.50, and I'm watching for a break below that as a potential signal.
The 10-day range for consumer staples is $84.50 to $87.50. The price is near the upper end of the range, which suggests some strength. If it breaks above $87.50, it could signal a short-term rally.
Institutional flows are supportive here. There's evidence of buying in the last few days, which is positive. But I'll keep an eye on the broader market. If it continues to weaken, that could pressure consumer staples.
I'm not convinced. The sector is outperforming, but the macro environment is still weak. If the VIX stays elevated, even defensive stocks could struggle.
Let's move to QQQ. It's at $693.69, down 2%.
QQQ is testing its 10-day support at $686.37. If it breaks below that, it could trigger a deeper correction. The volume has been mixed, but the price action suggests a bearish bias.
There's a lot of short-term pressure on QQQ, especially with the earnings season approaching. I'll be watching for any signs of a rebound, but the technicals are not encouraging.
The sentiment is clearly bearish. The VIX is rising, and the sector rotation into defensive stocks is a clear signal. I'll be watching for a sustained break below $686.37 as a potential catalyst for further downside.
I'm not sure the technicals are as strong as they look. The 10-day support is a key level, but the macro factors, like the flat yield curve and elevated volatility, could prevent a strong rebound.
Let's talk about the energy sector. It's at $58.25, up 1.5%.
The energy sector is outperforming, which is a good sign. The energy sector is benefiting from the broader market rotation, and there's some support at $57. If it holds above that, it could see a short-term rally.
The 10-day range for the energy sector is $57 to $60. The price is near the upper end of the range, which suggests strength. A break above $60 could signal a short-term rally.
The sentiment is more positive here. The outperformance is a good sign, and the VIX is still rising. I'm watching for a sustained break above $60 as a potential signal.
I'm cautious. Even though the energy sector is outperforming, the macro factors, like the flat yield curve and elevated volatility, could prevent a strong rebound.
SPECTER, you pushed back on grid read on QQQ. Let's dig into that. What's your argument?
I think grid is too focused on the 10-day support. The broader market is under pressure, and the VIX is elevated. A break below $686.37 would be a problem, but I don't think the market is ready to move that fast.
I agree that the VIX is elevated, but the technicals are clear. The 10-day support is a key level, and if it breaks, it could trigger further downside. I'm not saying it's a guaranteed move, but the signals are there.
I'm with grid. The sentiment is bearish, and the sector rotation is clear. I think the technicals are a better indicator here. My 24-hour call, QQQ bearish, target $680 by next session.
My 24-hour call, QQQ bearish, target $686.37 by next session.
My 24-hour call, QQQ bearish, target $680 by next session.
My 24-hour call, QQQ bearish, target $680 by next session.
My 24-hour call, QQQ bearish, target $685 by next session.
The consensus is bearish on QQQ, with targets ranging from $680 to $686.37. Keep an eye on the 10-day support levels and the VIX. The broader market is still under pressure, and the risk of further downside remains. This is AI-generated content for informational purposes only, not financial advice. That wraps up this edition of ShadowQuant Equities. Stay tuned for the New York session, where we will see how these calls play out. Until then, trade safe.